Good afternoon, all Biafrans all over the world. My name is Emeka Emekesiri. I want us to discuss some important issues relating to our land. We are talking about our right to self-determination, but we have a place where we are at the moment which we ought to put in order even as we get ready for either independence, outright independence, or autonomous governance. If you look at our territory, which we call the Igbo nation, whether southeast or south-south, the Ijo land, the Ibibio land, the Efik land, the former eastern region, if you look at the whole territory, you will see it is in a deplorable condition. So many things are happening at the same time against us. The insecurity problems, the roads that are impassable, everywhere is dilapidated. And sometimes you blame the federal government for everything. You blame the federal government, you accuse them of this or accuse them of that. Even a road that is behind your backyard, that's the road at your backyard, that you have refused to grade or make it good, you will blame the federal government. Even this little culvert that joins your compound to the main road, you will blame the federal government. The little things we can do even in our villages to keep our place clean, healthy, you blame the federal government. What happens to our states? What happens to our local governments? All these governments, local government and state governments, they receive allocations for the good and betterment of the people of the land. But they don't use it for our betterment. They squander it upon themselves. Yes, listen, we know we want independence. We want freedom. We want to govern ourselves. Yes. But what do we do at the moment with the resources we have in our hands? You don't have excuse at all. Before we get that independence or before we get that regional government, what are we doing now with the resources that we have in our hands? Every state government receives allocations. Every local government receives allocations. Some running into 100 million every month. If you want information, you can easily get the information under the Freedom of Information Act. You can get the information about every money that your local government receives every month. What does the local government do with that money? You can get information about every money that the state receives every month. What does the state do with that money? Our representatives in the parliament, they have constituency allowances also for the constituents, for our betterment. What do they do with that money? So, it's not always you're pointing accusing fingers against the federal government, pointing accusing fingers. You should look inwards. Look inwards. They have frustrated our youths, frustrated our young men and our young women. They have caused so much pain in the lives of our people. When you vote them in, they go there, and what do? They squander the money, they lavish it upon themselves and upon their families and upon their children, and send their children abroad, go to the hospital abroad, and they allow you to suffer here. We want to change that situation. We want to change that situation. There was a day I made a broadcast and I warned all the governors to be careful, because if anything goes wrong, the masses are going to lynch them, and because they know their houses. We know our house, we know where you live, we know your father's house. If anything goes wrong, if the youths can no longer bear, if they come to a boiling point where there will be explosion and they can no longer bear, they will come to your father's house and they'll bundle you out and they'll burn your father's house, burn you alive. That's why we keep warning you. You are living in luxury, opulence. You have all the big cars. You have all the jeeps. You ride all the jet planes. You go to the best hospital. You send your children to the best universities abroad. With our money, the Commonwealth, you use them. You will not repair our roads. You will, simple things, amenities you should provide for the people. You will not do that. And you think you will escape. When this anger gets to a boiling point and explodes, you will not escape the anger of the youths. You will not escape. Governor, you are listening to me. You will not escape. Local government chairman, you are listening to me. You will not escape from the anger of the youths. When their anger boils over to the boiling point and it explodes, you will not escape. Look at our land, for instance, the roads. Consider the roads. They are impassable. Whether from Aba to Port Harcourt, or to Were, or Newi, or to Oka, or to Onisha, or Enugu, to Onisha, to Oka, to... all the roads are impassable. You cannot use them. Deplorable condition, impassable condition, you cannot use them. And yet, we have governors. We have members of parliament, we have senators, we have people in authority who we regard as our leaders. Are you not ashamed? There are so many roads that, in fact, I can't understand. Are you not ashamed that you are ruling over a territory or a people that are in abject poverty? They cannot even, what kind of heart do you have? Are you really humans? Because I find it difficult to understand how a governor or a man in authority or a member of parliament or a senator, with all the powers you have, you will not use these powers for the benefit and the betterment of the people you are sent to represent. I don't quite get it. Either you're a devil or a child of the devil, your heart is stone. Heart of stone, and that you can't feel what we feel. You can't feel it. Perhaps because you are riding your big jeep, you are riding your jet plane, because your legs will not touch the mud, the pool. Therefore, you don't care what we suffer, whether we swim in the mud or what. You don't really care. I'm warning you. It may just be for a while. Your time will be up. And like you have heard, people have said that no condition is permanent. The condition where you are now, the position you occupy now, you're enjoying yourself now, it will not be permanent. One day you will leave that seat of power. One day you will join us as common men, as common people. You will join us on the street as common people one day. That power you now operate on, that power you now exercise, that power will one day leave you, and you will become an ordinary person. And that time you will be ashamed to meet us, to see us. Yes, that's why I'm warning you now. Leave a legacy. Do something that you'll be remembered for. Do something now. Let all the roads in the east be tarred. Yes, you may not tell me that there is a problem, that the federal government has federal roads. Right? Yes, I have had that argument. That there are federal roads and the federal has refused to tar those roads. And that if you tar them, the federal government, I have heard, federal government said they are not going to refund you if you tar those roads. But that is a useless argument. Now, you are in the position of authority for the good of your people. And if that road is for the benefit of your people, you have the right to compare the federal government. Listen, you have the right. You can go to court. You can drag the federal government to court. I remember when Abia State and other states all took the federal government to court when Obasanjo was in power. You can initiate that action against the federal government. Now, you want to tar that federal road, and the federal government say you cannot because it's under the executive legislative list. Now you compare federal government to do their duty. If they say you cannot tie it and recoup the money from federal allocation, you cannot. You can sue them. You can. It is in the interest of the people you govern that you repair those roads that are death traps, are causing accidents. Or you can force the government, you can force the federal government to do it. You can bring an action against the federal government to tar the roads that belong to the federal government under the exclusive legislative list, because it's their duty. And if they are failing in their duty, you can take action against the federal government to tar it. If you want to tar it, the federal government say you cannot, then sue the federal government. And let there be embarrassment. There are suits that can embarrass the government. Don't you know that? Yes, sue the government and let it be published to the whole world that there is a road in your place that is called Federal Road, that is a death trap and people are dying over it, and you want to tie it and federal government say you cannot tie it. You sue the federal government and put the news in the CNN. Put it all over the world and let us see who will be ashamed. I tell you, the federal government will run and tie that road for you. You have to push. You have to use the law. Use the power of the law and push. And let me warn even the federal government that I'm hearing this news. The federal government, I know that you are listening to me. Federal government, you may answer federal government, but there are human beings that operate as federal government. There are human beings listening to me now. The roads that we call federal roads are all death traps. People are dying on those roads. And you are saying you are federal, and we ask you to repair this road. You say you cannot repair it, and our governors want to repair. You said the governor cannot repair it because it is in the exclusive legislative list, and that if our governors repair the roads, you will no longer refund us from from your own account for the money we spent. That because you are federal. Nonsense. Why are you saying that? You are, listen. Don't hide now and say you are federal government. There are human beings that operate federal government, and I'm talking to these human beings. Are you devils? You are human beings operating as federal government. I am talking to you, the human being that operates the federal government. Do the right thing and save lives. People are dying on the roads. The roads are nothing. Those are very, very bad, impassable, causing accidents every day. And you don't want to tar the roads. And when our state governments want to tar, you stop them and say they are interfering into your affairs, and it is a federal road. What kind of nonsense is that? So the spilling of blood, the killing, all the accidents, you're happy with them. I am calling on you now to have a change of heart. You, the federal government, governor, federal government officials who are running the federal government, be human enough and do the right thing and save lives. Then our states, there are also state roads, because when we talk about road, it's not only federal road. Even the state roads are not functional. Even the state roads, even the local roads, local government roads, even they are not functional. We can do those ones also. If we do the state roads and the local government roads, at least the people will have a breathing space. At least the people will have fresh air. They can live a while. They can live and they can be happy a little. It's not everything you accuse the federal. Everything you accuse the federal. Let us look inwards also. So I'm talking about our roads, our amenities, infrastructure, social amenities. All these things that are supposed to be for the good of the people should be provided. Do you know, one day I was coming back at Aba and I saw somebody, a little girl fell down, her head broke, she died, she was there. And what did I see? She went to fetch water. She went to fetch water. Hey, I remembered in the early 60s and 70s when every yard in Aba had tap water, pump water, tap water. Every yard, you just open the tap and the water will be. Do you know what happened? I asked questions. They said that water sellers have bribed the water boards to lock up everywhere, and now what they now do is constructing boreholes, water boreholes, so that they can sell water. So that the water boards are down, they are closed, they are moribund, they are closed, there's no more water boards. And what they now have is ndị na-ere mmiri water boreholes, and they have formed borehole association. Why don't we have water or grid? Why don't we have light? As for the generator, they have bribed NEPA not to bring light, because if their light is there, nobody will buy generator for them. Can you see the wickedness? Your wickedness. You are terribly wicked. Because if NEPA gives you 24-hour light, no more generator sell. You can't sell your generator. Therefore, you bribe NEPA officials not to bring light. You bribe water board not to bring water. You are killing, we are destroying ourselves. We are talking about making our land better. If we get Biafra, is that how we are going to live? If we get Biafra, so you bribe the water boards and they will no longer provide water. You bribe the electricity board and they will no longer provide electricity. You must change your heart, change your mind, change your heart, change your mindset. You are evil if that is what you do. You are terrible, you are wicked. You don't want the good of the people. You don't want the good of the society. You don't want the progress of the people. When I saw that girl lying there at Ostioma Junction, oh, I wept. Oh, she was carrying a jerry can of water and she was killed there. Oh, and died there. Oh, a pump na tap in their yard. She wouldn't die. She wouldn't have died. Now, these are some basic things that we need in our life. These are things we should tell ourselves the basic truth. Not every time you blame the federal government. Every time you blame the federal government, you should also look inwards and blame yourselves where you are wrong. Let things begin to be done properly as they should, and every person will be happy. Otherwise, when you get this Biafra, you will be worse if you don't change your mind now. Your mindset, the way you think, the way you reason, the way you grab, the way you are so greedy and so covetous. If you don't change now, when you get Biafra, you are going to destroy yourselves. It shall not be that way. And that's why we are praying, asking God to prepare us before the time, to have a change of heart. I'm preaching now for you to be a changed person, to be a good disciple of Christ, to be a godly human being. A person who will feel for the good of the others, who will feel for others, who will love others like you love yourself. You know, lay down your life for others. As the scripture says, you know, a friend laying down his life for others, you know, for the good of others. Do that. And that's how you're going to enjoy the new country we are seeking. Whether we get a regional government or we get outright independence, it is the same people that live in the same place. Whether you call it Biafra outside Nigeria or Biafra inside Nigeria, it is the same people. And unless you have a change of mind, a change of heart, unless you are converted and start living in a proper way, it will be worse. So it's better we know where we are going and get ready. Otherwise, it will just like from frying pan to fire. So, and God knows that. Why is it that God has not given you the Biafra you're asking for? Perhaps God is waiting for you to change. Because God doesn't want to give us something that will destroy us. He doesn't want us to be like South Sudan. South Sudan got independence, but they have been killing themselves and destroying themselves up to this day. I don't want that to happen to Biafra. Let there be peace. Let there be love. Let there be orderliness. Let there be orderliness in our territory, in our land. So, I'm calling upon all the governors, all the chairmen of the local governments, all men in authority, all people who can do something positive for the betterment of our territory, to stand up and now start doing it, getting ready for what we are asking for. Whether we get regional government or we get outright independence, we are the same people. If we get regional government, this argument whether federal road or state road will no longer be there. If we get regional government, we can easily tar our roads. We will no longer be asking federal to come and tar it, and we begin to argue whether it is an exclusive legislative list or it is under a concurrent list. If we have our regional government, we can tar all the roads in our regions. And there will be no more loggerheads with will not be at loggerheads with the federal government. You see, so that's one of the reasons we are pursuing for regional autonomy. When we get this regional autonomy, it will be better for us. We'll be able to control our regions. We'll be able to develop our regions. Be able to tar all the roads, provide all the necessary social amenities, all the infrastructures in our own region, and we'll develop at our own pace, and we'll pay the agreed percentage tax to the federal to maintain the federal institutions. This is the better arrangement for Nigeria and for all of us. So let us start where we are, start from where we are. In our own region of Southeast and South-South, let all our leaders now take it as a duty to make sure that our territory is developed, is built, is beautiful and attractive, so that we can attract the world to the Southeast and South-South, to the old Eastern region. That's what we're talking about. God bless you for listening to me. Thank you.